Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Ibble Dibble Roasting Meghan's One Young World speech. So, what is One Young World? There's a lot of confusion about it. TLDR, it is not a charity. It is a public relations organization incorporated as a charity in order to avoid paying a fair share of taxes, whose mission is to matchmake multinational corporations with local initiatives to which they can donate truly nominal sums, as in amounts below $50,000, just have something to put on the corporate responsibility page of their website. One Young World also liaises with celebrities seeking to build a progressive image. The only people who make money here are the organizers and the celebrities, not the charities. It's a greenwashing, pinkwashing, brownwashing scam. So what is the One Young World Summit Meghan is giving the keynote speech for? The organization promotes itself as a, quote, global community for young leaders, specifically business leaders, politicians, government and policy officials, recognized entrepreneurs, activists, and human rights advocates. If you're asking yourself, how can someone under the age of 30 be any of these things? So am I. But there are supposedly 13,700 graduates of a One Young World 4-day summit. They call them ambassadors. Ambassadors get access to exclusive programs like Tony Robbins type video conferences with the same people that universities typically invite, like Dr. Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, director of the World Health Organization. That's right, the man who completely muffed up COVID response. Or Ariana Huffington, the woman who wrote an entire book about how sleeping a full 9 hours a night helped her get ahead in life. Not being married to the son of an oil baron, a huge donor to the Republican Party, or literally not paying the people who wrote for the Huffington Post. In fact, if you can afford around $4,000 per person for a 4-day summit, room and board not included, that always takes place in a top-tier city, you're in. But why would a young person go to that instead of, I don't know, a Beyoncé concert? Well, it's mainly attended by the new trainees in different entry-level corporate circuit programs all around the world, and treated as a combo travel perk and required team building exercise. The idea is to instill in the young, malleable minds of their newest workers the necessity of at least maintaining a veneer of social respectability, while in fact maintaining the international corporate status quo, of redirecting attention away from the corruption of international NGOs, the unsustainable exploitation of natural resources, the inhumane exploitation of human labor, and the exponentially accelerating drive towards ever more unequal wealth distribution all around the world, to issues of comparatively little importance. For example, gender equality in the workplace. No doubt an issue, but rather an issue of the past, one addressed by non-discrimination laws in almost all first world countries and a good number of developing nations. Or handling the single-use plastic crisis, which again would stop being an issue if corporations were simply not allowed to use non-biodegradable single-use plastics in any but the most absolutely vital applications. Well, Meghan and Harry, Emma Watson, and other misguided liberal celebrities are paid handsomely to give this event star power, and in theory reap the additional benefit of seeming intelligent, well-informed, and socially and environmentally conscious. Unless their keynote speech makes them sound like a total idiot. Let's get into it.
You are the future. Pinch me moment, a seat at the table. The present and the future. Conclusion, legacy you will leave. Full circle. This is where it's all beginning. Access. And what can we do? What can I do? Representation. How much continues to go on each day. Global community. Worldview had expanded exponentially. Sidebar. Incredibly inspiring. Shift the global perspective. Important and necessary impact. Bearing witness to the power that you hold in your hands. The world is watching. It is just an absolute privilege. I'm going to double down on that. I'm incredibly humbled. Your time is now. The important work can't wait for tomorrow. Meant your place in history as we embrace the moment of now to create a better tomorrow.
I mean, if somebody challenged me to fit every dumb word of business mumbo jumbo I'd ever encountered into a 9-minute speech, I'm not sure I could top her. And how rich is it for her keywords to be inclusion, access, representation, and community when she's giving a speech to people who can afford to pay $1,000 a day to attend meaningless networking events? There were four basic parts to the presentation. The first part was before Meghan even took the stage. The guy who introduced her could only call her an advocate for women's rights. He couldn't actually point out any accomplishment she had made in the arena because she hasn't made any.
And she continues to speak out and advocate for women's issues and social justice.
He plugged the Archetypes podcast with Serena being number one for like a day and a half as her best feminist accomplishment. Truly embarrassing.
Her new podcast, Archetypes, just topped the Spotify charts around the world.
And a regrettable example of the corporate backslapping that the One Young World organization engages in constantly. In the first part of her speech, Meghan talks about having serious imposter syndrome.
How on earth did I get here? Have any of you today so far had that feeling, that pinch me moment where you just go, how am I here?
No. The attendees of this conference are highly competitive young professionals, most of whom have graduate degrees and are being sponsored by their multinational corporate overlord employers. They cut throats to get where they are. They don't relate to you and your backdoor D-list, pay-for-play PR campaign strategy for wiggling your way into this stuff at all.
I wondered if I was good enough to even be there, what I was doing in the world, albeit important and meaningful as far as I saw it, was it deserving to have a seat at this table?
If we cast back to 2014 and review the important charity work Meghan felt she was doing, she wasn't doing anything. She wasn't named a UN Women Advocate until 2015, and she left that job once they refused to promote her to an equal role as Emma Watson. She didn't visit India or Rwanda until 2016. There's no indication she accomplished anything other than taking photos of herself in either place. Meghan was doing nothing for charity in 2014 when they first let her attend this event. She had to beg to attend this event. Next, Meghan talks about how her perspective has evolved immensely after getting married and becoming a mother. And people actually applaud this.
I was now married, and I was now a mom.
The final element of her speech was slipping in a line about how it was the responsibility of attendees to
Shift the global perspective for all of us as a global community to one of curiosity over criticism.
No one's criticizing charities, Meghan. No one's criticizing progress. People are criticizing posers like you who make money off of pretending to help people. It's disgusting. My advice to you, Meghan, is to stop running your mouth and start working for a cause. The day you start actually doing some good in the world is the day I will shift from criticizing you to being curious about you. Thank you for tuning in to this Ibble Dibble rant. Check back in a few hours for my next installment of Revenge. Toodles!